vape pen cartridges with THC? No?
I do, man.
And within 5 minutes of releasing him, the trooper reached over and got that vape pen out of the seat and was nibbling on it to see what it tasted like. When another 25 minutes down the road, pulled over on the shoulder of the road and started hitting on it.
And I felt it fill up my lungs. I pushed it out as fast as I could, and there was smoke everywhere. I've never seen anything smoke so much. I did not mean to inhale it.
So we all know for a long time now there have been reports and just general concerns about officers doing nefarious things with the bust that they actually take off the streets. Now, whether it's a massive bust or just a small bust with some personal stuff, there's always been that concern. What actually happens to it? Does it actually go into evidence and get logged? And if it does everything make it there, or does only some of it make it there? Now, in today's episode, we're going to have a look at an instance where a cop actually confiscated some stuff from someone. They offered it up, no problems there, but what happened afterward was a little bit suspicious and downright crazy if you ask me. The officer took the pen and tried to hit it a few times out of sight of the camera, even though he was fully inside of the camera, and accidentally inhaled. You don't need to take my word for it, so let's get into this video, which breaks down everything and also gives you a little bit of background into really what happened, and also breaks things down from the lawyer's point of view. So let's hop in right now.
My name is David Sloan. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a story about a former state trooper that has not yet been told, and I think it needs to be told.
Former Wichita County DPS trooper pleads guilty to one charge and is placed on 2 years probation in a drug evidence tampering case. 47-year-old Chad Harden of Iowa Park accepted a plea deal to tampering with or fabricating evidence with intent to impair an investigation.
Chad Harden was a trooper stationed in Wichita County, which is Wichita Falls, and he was just wreaking havoc on the public. Wichita County, or Wichita Falls in Texas, is a major crossroads with 287 running right through it. And 287 is the main highway for people traveling from Colorado and actually even California, coming down off of I-40 to the southeast United States. Mr. Harden was stopping traffic left and right. He's lauded himself as being the #1 interdiction trooper in the state of Texas, and I believe that's accurate. His arrest rate was much higher than those of his similarly situated peers. I actually had my own background investigation done on him and everything, and let me tell you why. When people get arrested for having small amounts of marijuana or THC or something like that, generally speaking, if the officer arrested him fair and square, he didn't lie about the reason for stopping him, or he didn't lie about the reason, his justification to search them, treated them with the respect that they were due, there's no hard feelings.
All right, we all be careful. Have a safe trip.
Thank you, sir,
Yes,
for
Yes, sir.
letting me make it.
Okay.
Being understanding.
Yes, sir.
There's a closure with my client as we're walking out of the courthouse. They're not mad at that officer. He was just doing his job. But not with this guy. Never with this guy. People loathed him as they were walking out, and often, said that he fabricated the reasons for stopping him, or fabricated the reasons, said he smelled something that he didn't smell. I believed him. I didn't hear this elsewhere in the state. Other counties I was coming from, people would come walk out of the courthouse. They wouldn't say that trooper lied on me.
I just want to point out real quick that we actually did a video breaking this down recently. What happens if you are pulled over and officer suspects they smell something or claim to smell something? It has been proven in the past that has actually been used as a tactic by officers to get into your car and actually conduct a search to try to find anything further. I'm talking guns, ammunition, or really hard drugs. And that smell of flour is something that has been abused by a lot of officers over the years, so there's no disputing that.
But I got that a lot with this guy. He stopped a lot of people, and for very small amounts of cannabis or THC, really wreaked havoc on them. In particular, the patients, the people that were traveling with medications that were legal in their state, or it was legal in the state where they had bought it or whatever, and they were just passing through Texas. They'd leave out of here with a felony on their record. So anyway, I received a notice from the state.
A felony, bro.
indicating
Jesus.
that it's called a Brady notice, and that's where the state has to disclose to you if there's something wrong with their case. And I had a number of cases in Wichita County involving this trooper.
Now, just for those who may not know, a Brady notice is actually a request by a defense attorney for evidence that is favorable to the defendant in a criminal case. The term actually dates back to 1963 from a Supreme Court case, Brady versus Maryland, which established that prosecutors must disclose this evidence.
If you were to ask Texas Ranger Weaver about the honesty of this trooper, he would say that he doesn't believe he's honest. And that was all this Brady notice said. I thought there's going to be a lot more to this. You know, this doesn't sound to me like
They're hiding something for sure.
This Texas Ranger a fib while they were having coffee. You know, there's certainly a lot more going on with this case. The cases I had involving this trooper were all felonies, and first the state offered to reduce them to misdemeanors when I started questioning this Brady notice I got, and I wasn't accepting that. And then they dismissed the cases outright. And then now certainly I was very curious.
Wow, can you imagine if you settled for a misdemeanor and you could have gotten your case thrown out outright? Absolutely crazy.
What happened? Well, lo and behold, a few weeks later, this trooper had resigned, and he had been accused of mishandling evidence, tampering with it. But he was also charged with possession of a controlled substance. So that certainly piqued my interest as to just exactly how he'd been mishandling it. Now, the media just blew right past it.
Hardin was involved in scores of traffic stops and drug cases in past years, most along US 287. Hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds of marijuana and other drugs were seized, along with, in many cases, thousands of dollars in cash.
Apparently, they just weren't asking the right questions. And immediately I started asking a lot more questions. I hit the Department of Public Safety with a flurry of public information requests, and they were opposing me at every turn. The main one that kind of left me dead in the water was that it was pending a prosecution. This happened all back in 2019, right before COVID hit, so there's been a lot of delays anyway. But on a weekly basis, I started checking the mainframe up in Wichita County to see when the criminal cases against this trooper were disposed of. And as soon as they were, then I was right back on their doorstep. Highway patrol cars in Texas, they have cameras hidden in the headliners of the patrol car.
Right.
And that's one of the things that an interdiction trooper will do, is they'll stop you and they'll just be just as nice as they can possibly be. Oh, you were speeding, but I'm going to give you a warning. You know, come on back here and have a seat in my car. You know, let's be friends, you know, back there, and getting you back there so that they can have an on-camera interview with you. They're getting ready to interrogate you on the side of the road on camera.
You ever been arrested for anything? What have you been arrested for? Possession of marijuana.
Part of my request was I wanted all videotapes from this trooper's car. I wanted not only the one pointed through the windshield, but I wanted the videos of what's going on inside the car. And lo and behold, I got the answer that I was suspected. You know, I've had a lot of clients over the years wonder when the police took their marijuana if they weren't using a little bit of it themselves. And I can say that there have been times where I had a client that had just been to wherever it is they got what they got, and they knew that the weight or the measurements of what they had in their possession was exact. And when we get the lab report back, it's a little light.
One thing I can say about that is that we knew that patients, whether you're medical, recreational, no matter what, you may not be the best at math, but you know what's supposed to be in that pack, bro. You know what's supposed to be in there. So if it's a few grams off, or it's wildly off of what you know it's supposed to be, for example, if it's supposed to be 28 grams, but it clocks in at 15, you know something's missing somewhere, guys. And that's exactly what brought this up here.
In terms of what the person says they actually had when they got arrested. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. That seems to be a prevailing question that a lot of people that have had their marijuana taken from them by an officer, if that's not what's going on. And that's what was going on here. This trooper stopped a man on his way back from Colorado, allegedly stopped the man for speeding, ended up searching his car, took some vape pens from him.
No vape pen cartridges with THC? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do, man.
And within 5 minutes of releasing him, the trooper reached over and got that vape pen out of the seat and was nibbling on it to see what it tasted like. Went another 25 minutes down the road, pulled over on the shoulder of the road, and started hitting on it. The DA's office didn't tell us that.
I accidentally inhaled THC, as stupid as that sounds. And I felt it fill up my lungs. I pushed it out as fast as I could, and there was smoke everywhere. I've never seen anything smoke so much. I did not mean to inhale it. I mean, I smoked weed before Highway Patrol. I told them whenever I came in, I told them all about that. That's embarrassing. I was wigged out.
Basically got caught in his own trap. He videotaped on his own camera.
How stupid can you be? How stupid can one be? You're doing something you're not supposed to be doing on the cruiser camera, the camera that's installed in every police vehicle. What? Absolutely crazy. Accidentally, he said too. What do you guys think about that? Drop it in the comments down below. I want to find out what you guys think about that. Have you guys ever been in a situation where something like this happened to you? Drop it in the comments and let me know. And just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, cop some merch or join the ICANN VIP Bean Club, because that next drop is going out pretty soon. But the crazy thing is that all this was caught on camera.
Tampering with evidence, as they called it. But what disturbs me is the Texas Rangers found 20 other cases where this trooper stopped somebody, took their contraband, their THC or their marijuana, and it never made it to the evidence box.
Wow.
You know, he just said,
Wow.
we're going to almost send this into the state lab for destruction, and it never made it. And what troubles
He destroys it himself. He makes use of it himself.
me is the district attorney's office knows about those 20 other cases. I mean, it's on video, the trooper taking the contraband, and it never making it to the evidence box.
Crazy.
That, and along with the video of what he's actually doing with this stuff, I don't understand why the trooper was charged with just one count of tampering with evidence and just one count of possession of a controlled substance. I could understand maybe not charging him with multiple counts of possession, since they don't actually have the substance there to test. But they certainly got 20 counts of tampering, and that's a third-degree felony. Tampering with
Wow.
evidence is something the police often will charge somebody with here in Texas. Is they
Literally.
pull them over, and they're like, "Oh, the cops are pulling me over," and they throw something out the window.
They will charge
And
you.
the police go back and get it and find that it's marijuana or whatever. Frequently, they'll charge the driver.
Or if you guys have actually seen that one instance where a guy got arrested, he was put over the hood of a police car in handcuffs, and he actually ate the evidence. Munched it and ate it. It was gone.
Typically, the punishment for that is, usually about 4 years probation. Now, with Trooper Harden, when he finally went to court, they dismissed the possession of a controlled substance outright.
Wow.
And they took a guilty plea for the evidence tampering, and they deferred any kind of adjudication on him. And the deferred period, the deferred adjudication probation period, was for only 2 years. 2 years is, in a lot of counties, what a first offender, 2 years probation, is what in a lot of counties a first offender gets for simple possession of marijuana, without this breach of public trust.
Tampering with evidence and all that.
Bought it with their own hard-earned money. They didn't use a badge to
Steal
take
it.
it away from somebody else.
Yeah.
Basically, when you do a deferred adjudication, the judge says, "Okay, I've got enough evidence here to find you guilty, but I'm going to withhold that finding. And if you go on community supervision and you do everything you're supposed to do and don't do what you're not supposed to do, at the end of that term, I'll dismiss these charges against you." And at that time, the person who was on community supervision can have the record sealed from public view. So in this case, I was very concerned that this trooper would be back out on the road wearing a badge again.
Crazy.
Certainly never with the Texas Department of Public Safety again, but there are some agencies that'll hire people they shouldn't. But part of the plea negotiations with this trooper was that he had to surrender his Texas Commission on Law Enforcement licensing, and he signed a permanent surrender. So I think he's pretty much done, at least here in Texas. In every profession, you've got good and bad people. You know, you've got people that shouldn't be there, and you've got a lot of people that are there doing all the right things for all the right reasons. You know, and I think that, again, Texas, the Department of Public Safety does a very good job screening their employees. Just occasionally a dud gets through, like this one.
Also, what happens sometimes is that people let power get to their head. So you go in to the police academy, you're fine, you become a police officer, but somewhere along the line, the power goes to your head and you begin to abuse that power and abuse that trust that was put in you by the public. So that's also a really important point there, guys.
We have to place faith in them that they're going to do the right thing. Very easily to pinch from the cookie jar if that's what an officer's of a mind to do. Now, a lot of the larger agencies, they have the money and the resources and the internal and systems and checks and balances with random drug testing and things like that, where they could often catch an officer if he was doing that. But I see a lot of rural agencies that they don't have the budgets for those kinds of things.
So that's a really, really crazy story, guys. I want to find out what you guys think about that, because there have been countless instances, countless times where people have gotten their stuff confiscated and either it does not weigh up or you just never hear about it again. And it does leave you to wonder, how often does something like this really happen? Pretty much growing up all my life, I've always heard about these things happening. But I want to find out what you guys think about this specific situation where the officer was so bold and brazen to actually just toke it on camera, on the cruiser camera. Absolutely crazy. And not just in any state, but out in Texas. So drop in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, in this particular situation, the officer did use the smell of herb as an excuse to search the guy's car. And that happens all the time. But if you're in a situation where officers suggest that they smell something, what should you do? Because if you don't cooperate or you cooperate too much, you can end up in jail. So check this video out because it's coming up right now.